Thanks for joining us. I'm Shannon Martin. We begin tonight in Oshawa with some developing news. One person is dead, multiple others are injured after a 9-car crash.
Officers arrived on scene, located multiple injured parties as well as 2 vehicles on fire. 8 parties have been transported to local area hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries. At this point, unfortunately, 1 party is deceased at the scene.
The accident happened just after noon today at the intersection of Bloor and Ritson. Police say some of the people hurt were pedestrians getting food at a French fry truck in a nearby parking lot. Police say none of the pedestrians were struck by a vehicle, but hit by debris. It's not clear what caused the crash, but residents who live in the area say they often see people speeding on these roads.
A lot of blind spots in this area, so it's probably about every 2 or 3 weeks that there's not this serious of an accident, but there's generally accidents.
Durham police remain on the scene at this hour and say their collision reconstructionists are still trying to piece together a sequence of events. No charges have been laid. Toronto police are identifying the city's latest homicide victim as a 21-year-old man from Quebec. Police say the man, today identified as Desia Mbongo, was killed after shooting late Thursday night near Woodbine Beach. It happened in a laneway between Lakeshore Boulevard East and Boardwalk Drive. Police say a group of men were heard arguing before shots were fired. The victim was found with a gunshot wound and died in hospital. So far, police are not releasing any information about suspects. The Canadian Blood Services says it's facing a critical shortage this summer across the GTA, so the push for donors is on. The goal to fill some 90,000 appointments by the end of the month. Anam Khan has more.
Here at the Canadian Blood Services Clinic in Scarborough, donors are rolling up their sleeves, but it's still not enough. Patient demand in hospitals is outpacing supply across the GTA.
Typically, every summer, donors that are regular donors, they're busy. Their plans have been disrupted by vacations, time with family, enjoying the sun. We're actually seeing an increase in that this year.
The shortage is particularly concerning for those who rely on regular transfusions.
Every 60 seconds, somebody in Canada needs a blood transfusion.
To keep up with the high demand, the not-for-profit is hoping to hit their target of 90,000 transfusions by Labor Day.
What side you prefer?
Encouragement often plays a big role for getting donors to the clinic. Just ask James Sharman.
I had a friend years ago who was involved in a car wreck, and he turned out to be fine, but at one point he did need a blood transfusion, and I couldn't help him, and I felt pretty useless because of that, and it all kind of always weighed on my mind. I couldn't help.
Sharman, who grew up in the UK, says he's been donating blood as soon as he could last year, after the ban on people living in England during the mad cow disease outbreak was lifted.
I felt there's a relief to a certain point that you can finally help out. The biggest thing was just how easy and how convenient it is. That the thought might scare some people off, but you're literally in the chair for under 10 minutes.
Sometimes even shorter.
How's my time for that? I'll say
6 minutes.
6 minutes.
Chris Brown, who's been donating for 2 decades, says it's his way of giving charity.
It's a tangible way of helping someone that appeals to somebody who's very cheap and doesn't want to give money.
He says he's donated blood 428 times, and now he's donating platelets and plasma every 2 weeks. The Canadian Blood Service is urging others to roll up their sleeves and make an appointment online to donate to a clinic near them. Anam Khan, CBC News, Toronto.
It's been almost 1 year since an industrial fire caused a large-scale chemical spill at Mimico Creek. Cleanup and restoration efforts took several months while the creek looks to be back to normal. Residents living in the area say there are still many concerns and unanswered questions surrounding the spill.
What were the contaminants that were spilled? What was the level of contamination and the concentration at that time versus now? And what was the impact? Those questions have not been answered. We've also asked our elected officials and provincial and municipal agencies to take the learnings from this spill and do better in the future. And we have not received any information that there's going to be a plan to improve our response to spills.
The Toronto Wildlife Centre reported 112 birds were affected and treated last year due to the spill. Toronto Fire told CBC that petroleum products burned in the fire that caused the spill. Now, CBC reached out to the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks for a statement, but did not get a response at the time of broadcast. The RCMP is interviewing government officials as part of its criminal investigation into Premier Ford's shuttered plan to open up protected Greenbelt land for development. A spokesperson for the Premier confirms police interviews are now underway. Just 1 year ago this week, the former Auditor General, Bonnie Lysyk, released her explosive report into the Greenbelt's land swap. The controversy led to the resignation of 2 Ford government ministers and 2 staffers. Provincial officials say so far the Premier has not been asked to be interviewed, but Ford himself says he will cooperate with the investigation.
We have nothing to hide. You know, come in, do whatever you have to do, and eventually we're moving on. But I want full cooperation. They know that because there's nothing to hide there. Let's get going on it.
In a statement, Liberal leader Bonnie Crombie said Ontarians deserve much more than a government embroiled in a criminal investigation and that they need to know exactly how Doug Ford was involved in the scandal. Turning to yet another golden day for Canadian athletes, including Phil Wizard, who just captured the first ever gold medal in breaking. Our medal tally now stands at 27 at the Paris Games, making this Canada's most successful run ever at a non-boycotted Summer Games. Prime Minister Trudeau is on hand for GT20 cricket action today in Brampton, attending the game before taking in a Liberal Party event in the city.
You want to take a picture?
Cricket fans and players got a chance to meet the Prime Minister. He was also presented with a custom jersey. It's being hailed as new hope for endangered language. This week saw the world premiere of the beloved classic Star Wars: A New Hope, with one major change. It was dubbed in Ojibwe. Karen Pauls was on the red carpet in Winnipeg. She has more from the actors hoping to reach new audiences.
Star Wars: A New Hope, in a new language, Ojibwe. That's Teresa Aishin voicing one of Princess Leia's most iconic lines.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
We are moving forward. We are reclaiming our languages.
Dennis Chartrand had to find his dark side to play Darth Vader, but for him, the whole project has been positive.
It's a new hope, and that's what I'm really feeling with tonight, a new hope for our language and our people.
May the Force be with you.
Lead translator Patricia Ningwans is looking to the future.
Our voices, our Ojibwe language will be gone with us. It's very, very important that that we pass on the language to our younger people.
Ningwans' son says there are many parallels between the iconic movies and the experiences of Indigenous peoples.
We've been outgunned, we've been out-resourced, out-educated, and the way that we can go forward is utilizing Indigenous elders who have that knowledge and then making sure that our younger generations have the opportunity to flourish.
That younger generation, Linklater's son, voiced Luke Skywalker. Check out his middle name.
I let him know I got the part. It was your destiny.
A destiny many in the audience never expected would happen.
At one point, it was very overwhelming because the little Ojibwe kid in me wanted to be able to sit there with my grandmother.
Just incredible that, we have now that acceptance in society.
The hope is that the language revitalization will be as powerful and long-lasting as the original Hollywood hit. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A Toronto house set for the Wrecking Ball has been given a new lease on life with a temporary art installation. Talia Ricci takes us there.
Welcome to Art on Barton. This is a house that is slated for demolition and redevelopment. It's not the first time I've reached out to developers to do a project along these lines. And I think with a lot of developers, even if we talk, they're just like, art, murals, we don't really understand. We don't understand how that fits into our space. But with these developers, Green Street Flats, they actually have a lot of laneway housing around the city. They're used to working with muralists. 2 weeks after that, after doing some very intense clearing out of the home, cleaning, making space for the artists, we started bringing people in. Basically, that's been 5 weeks of turning this house from absolutely nothing, just like a regular empty house, to a house that is completely covered, floor to ceiling, like furniture, objects have been incorporated into it. All of that has been turned into this really amazing, immersive, exploratory art installation.
When people come here, what can they expect to see and how many artists are involved?
Including the laneway artists, we probably have over 40 artists who are participating in this. So what you can expect when you walk into the house is just this artistic journey. You'll go in and it's kind of like a choose your own adventure of art. You can go left and explore the backyard. You can go right and immediately go into the house. There's just so much art to explore and discover in all the different spots. And one thing that I fully expect to happen, because there's so much to see, is, you know, different people are gonna come and they're gonna see it and they're gonna explore and enjoy. And then they'll look at something that a friend of theirs posted and be like, where was that? I didn't see that. I thought I looked at the whole house. So I think it's going to be like a really wonderful journey for people to come in and not just experience art, but experience a house in a very unconventional way.
No two experiences of how someone will experience this house will be the same. Every time I come into this house, every day I come into this house, I don't know what I'm going to experience. It's, as I say, it's a project that kind of unfolds and it's a collaborative process. So for me, that's been the most exciting thing, is getting to work directly with artists. We're walking through the space together and going, what could this be? What are your wildest dreams? Tell me what you want to do. All right, let's figure out how we're going to do that.
This is a mural that Eski and I are collaborating on, and it falls in line with the stained glass piece that I'm doing inside the house. And so I'll be adding stained glass behind the bird at the end of this project. The amount that we've seen our community grow since this project began is probably my favorite part of the project. I would love to use this as a template for future projects where, you know, we just have houses empty, where artists could be using them for portfolio building projects or community building.
You come right in here.
So cool, wow.
Yep.
This piece I created at the very beginning of the stage of this Art on Barton project. I painted a tiger and it looks like it's playing with the front porch light. I just wanted to bring people's interest to this project and hopefully get more people engaged with this house. So yeah, it has been a really fun project, and making this mirror art also very fulfilling for me. I think the most special thing about this project would be the community aspect of it. And I feel like it really brings all the artists together.
The community is kind of happening on two different areas, which obviously combine. One is among the artists. Having a space like this where we can all just kind of jam and hang out and be together is really awesome. The other side of community building, we have everybody in the neighborhood itself. We know the dogs' names that walk by regularly, like the neighbors have been stopping and telling us how excited they are.
Why do you think there should be more art like this in the city?
I think in general, we should just have more art everywhere. It just beautifies the city. It makes it so happy. Like, why not have a beautiful mural on your front porch? Why not turn your bathroom into an immersive art piece? Like, it just makes it so much more fun, and you go in and it's just like massive smile on your face. A lot of people have been asking us how we feel about putting so much time and effort into this beautiful artwork that we know is getting demolished. And for us, we don't see it as a negative thing. We see it as a very cathartic thing of being able to put this out into the world. The people who are coming through, they know that it's temporary, and they're going to really appreciate it for that amount of time that it's there, and in a way that kind of makes it more special.
Call it the ultimate test for poutine enthusiasts and enjoyers, going down today at Yonge Dundas Square in Toronto. The World Poutine Eating Championship saw contestants chow down on piles of poutine.
I don't know. I think my legs might give out on me, but yeah, a little nervous. But we should, you know, like I said, it's for a good cause, and we're here to have fun.
Speaking of that good cause, a 2-minute poutine eating competition between executives from various companies went down, all to raise funds for fully accessible summer camps for kids with disabilities. The event also featured live music performances and buskers. The intensity, did you see that? Wow, I love the enthusiasm.
When is the poutine eating contest for TV broadcasters? Because I think
right.
we would do really
well,
well,
We could recreate that. I think that would be fun. Just give us 2 minutes and yeah. And
signing up
Rolaids.
for next year as we go. Well, you might need a warm, comforting meal with these chilly temperatures. Okay, I won't say chilly. This isn't an awful weekend. But if this is the one that you had to go up north, it is a little lackluster, cloudy, a little bit below seasonal, on and off showers. It's a rinse and repeat version of Saturday for Sunday as well. Mid to low teens for Sunday morning. By Sunday afternoon, it's not just a chance of showers, it's a chance of thunderstorms as well. It's not a weekend canceling type forecast, but certainly the clouds will be there. If you do get a storm roll through, it won't be an entire day event, but it's going to be spotty. Heavier rain up towards the Nickel Belt and up to the Timmins region for much of your Sunday. And then anywhere really in southern Ontario, there is a chance of one of these non-severe rumbles of thunder to come through your neck of the woods. You might see some storms, especially in some of the areas in eastern Ontario and even into southern Quebec, that were really hit hard yesterday with the remnants of post-tropical storm Debbie. We're talking a ton of catastrophic flooding. You know, we covered it here on the channel as well. 2 months worth of rainfall in areas like Montreal, Gatineau, and Ottawa got hit really hard as well. We're still watching the dams that are closed on the Ottawa River because of the fast river flow rate and the high river water levels as well. We'll keep our eyes on that. We're also watching the temperatures. So watch this topsy-turvy story that we have going on. Sunday evening, for example, we're high teens, maybe low 20s if we're lucky. And then there is this blocking pattern in the upper levels of the atmosphere that have a ridge of high pressure pumping all the warm air up towards the north of the Arctic Circle, and all that cool Arctic air is instead being flown down to us here in parts of southern Ontario. So while we are in the mid-teens, north of the Arctic Circle is the hot spot in our country, and it's basking north of that 60th parallel in 35-degree heat. That will continue for a couple of days until the jet stream decides to become more zonal, Shannon, and we go on this recovery bound. Into midweek is when we're back to seasonal with a little bit of humidity, but Murphy's Law, the work week is certainly better than this weekend. We recover nicely the next couple days, and we will clock in lots of hours of sunlight if this is your week to go up to the cottage or have a little bit of vacation. Really nice, pleasant conditions into next week, really all across the region. The dog days of summer, certainly.
You know, earlier today I thought it almost feels like fall, and then I thought, don't think that.
No pumpkin spice latte yet. It's too early.
Yes, we want that heat and humidity back.
The end of August looks like it's going to be quite nice if you are a heat lover like Shannon and I.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much, Sophia.
You're welcome.
That's our show for you tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.